Hello, it is Thursday morning, October 3rd. You'll notice I did not say good morning because it's not such a good morning. The wind blew pretty hard all night, and it has abated some, but it's still blowing pretty hard now. The weather forecast is 15 to 20 with gusts of 25, tapering off some towards the afternoon, and there are small craft warnings or advisory in effect. But we'd really like to get to Point Judith today, because tomorrow there are gale warnings, and I can go back to that little Cogden Cove hidey hole to hide from that. I'm going to see if I can get packed up and underway. I'm concerned that how difficult the pop-top enclosure is going to be to fold up in this breeze, and then how easy or hard it's going to be to pull up the anchor. But really only one way to find out. It's now about 9:45. Time flies when you're having fun. So we are underway, headed back to Point Judith. It was a little bumpy getting out of the Cuttyhunk outer harbor. Well, to start, it was a challenge, both folding up the pop-top enclosure and getting the anchor up. But they were both quite doable. So that was the first test. Then we got out into the Cuttyhunk outer harbor, and we had to go pretty much into the wind, and that was pretty bouncy. There was a pretty big swell coming in through there, and well, I couldn't see my chart plotter at that moment, so I'm not sure how slow I was going, but it was pretty slow. But once I rounded a buoy, I was able to set the sails, and immediately not only was I going faster, but it was much more comfortable. So that's what we're doing now. After some adjustments, I initially started off with the boom in a lower position out of an abundance of caution. And I assumed that I'd be on a broad reach and that would all work out. But in fact, once I got out there, I found the wind was coming from almost dead behind. The forecast was for it to clock around to the east, although not till later in the day, but sometimes the timings are not perfect. And with the wind behind me, I couldn't use the jib at all without the whisker pole, and I couldn't fly the whisker pole with the pop-top down, and I couldn't put the pop-top up with the boom in the lower position. So I had to finagle around to find a way so I could put the boom back in the upper position, put the pop-top up, and then finally get the whisker pole out so I could fly both the jib and the main, both heavily reefed. That's the way they're going to stay, unless things change. Now, as I said earlier, the wind is supposed to die down a little bit, but it's still supposed to be 10 to 15. So I'm not sure of our ETA at the moment. Well, I'll take some shots of the current environment. It's about 12:30 now, and pretty much nothing has changed. I've had lunch. I ate the rest of that tuna fish. Didn't want it to spoil. But the weather conditions are all about the same. So our ETA at the Point Judith breakwater for the harbor of refuge is about 2:30, which is a nice hour. Well, doesn't seem to be anything else to mention. So I'll just do another look around. So, a pretty gray day, as you can see. So, since we're once again getting virtually nothing from the solar panels, I'm reduced to having to run the outboard to put some juice in the batteries. So, it's just idling in neutral, which seems to be enough to, you know, get us back up to a reasonable level at the end of the day. So, and with the conditions out there today, I don't even hear it. I forgot that it's running. Eventually I'll remember. All right, on to Point Judith. Well, that was a day of sailing. Conditions were boisterous, but it was good. I liked it. So we're back in Cogden Cove, off of Point Judith Pond. Dropped the anchor around 4. It's a long way in here, so it takes time. We did get to the last waypoint outside of the outer harbor at 2:30, as the the ETA worked out was accurate, but to get all the way up here and drop the anchor is another hour and a half. Anyway, now that we're here, we're going to stay. This morning the weather forecast said there was a gale watch in effect for tomorrow, Friday, with winds with gusts up to 30 miles an hour. The forecast still says the winds gusts are up to 30 miles an hour, so I didn't spot any change in that part of the forecast, but they've dropped the gale watch, whatever a gale watch might be. But we're going to spend the day here anyway. I'm not getting out there in 30-knot winds. So, and I really have nothing to do besides read here and there. I don't have any projects, I don't think, that I can do. One of the markers on the anchor line came off. I have little whippings that tell me how much rope I have off, but I can't fix that because that part of the anchor line is in the water. So, and it's the end of the season, so everything can wait. So we're having our afternoon beer. I did some extra tidying up and such because we were expecting the heavy winds, and put out like 7-to-1 scope instead of 5-to-1 scope, things like that. And I have the Fortress anchor ready to go. Well, other than that, now that that's all done, I can have my afternoon beer and cheese and crackers and start thinking about dinner. I'm a little hungry. So tonight for dinner, we're having one of those meals that was brought onto the boat frozen and in a food saver bag. And then we put that food saver bag into a pot with 16 ounces of water. We brought the water to a boil and let it sit for a while to thoroughly heat up the meal. And then I've got this
clean hot water in the pan to do something with. And sometimes I reuse that for dishwashing, but I'm not going to be washing dishes tonight. So instead, what I thought I would do is I'm going to take the warm water and put it in a thermos, and I'll do something else with it a little later. So there's dinner ready to eat. Chili mac, frozen from home, and yet more garden salad, and wine. So we've used the leftover hot water that we saved in the thermos to make ourselves a cup of cocoa. How's that?